Bangladesh's ruling party has swept to victory in Sunday's election. The country's election commission says Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's Awami League has won more than half the seats in the country's legislature. That gives her a fourth consecutive term as the country's leader, but in a poll boycotted by the main opposition that drew low turnout and was marred by violence.
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina casting her ballot in an election without real competition. After 15 years in power, she faced few obstacles on her way to another 6-year term. The main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party, the BNP, boycotted the vote, accusing her of a brutal crackdown. To Hasina, it seems of little consequence.
I have to prove credibility, right? To whom? To whom? A terrorist party? A terrorist organization? No. I have my accountability to people, to the people. Whether people accepted it or not, whether they have accepted this election or not, that is important.
But Hasina's bitter rivals say they are up against more than just words. The BNP claims more than 20,000 of its members have been arrested in the lead-up to the vote. The government blames the opposition for arson attacks. The call for boycott seems to have been heard by many voters. These protesters took to the streets in the capital Dhaka instead of going to polling stations.
As a citizen, voting is my most important right. Why am I here on the street instead of going to exercise my rights? Because in reality there is no election here. We all know who's going to win or who's going to form the next government, even before the voting starts.
Election officials put the turnout at around 40%, half the number from the previous poll 6 years ago. Supporters of Hasina credit her with a successful fight against poverty and ambitious infrastructure developments, while opponents say that today she's acting like an autocrat.
Criticism is viewed to be a kind of a source of threat, and your critics are considered to be your enemies. The space for promoting some of the basic rights of the people has been increasingly shrinking.
Despite the low turnout and the boycott, Awami League and its supporters claim Hasina's victory is legitimate. Now that the results are in, it's not clear how the opposition will respond.
Professor Ali Riaz is a political scientist at Illinois State University in the United States. I asked him earlier how much the opposition boycott affected the turnout and the election in general.
It has affected enormously. As a matter of fact, what we have seen throughout the day in Bangladesh, that people have voted with their feet. That means they have decided not to participate. Because even the official statistic that has been provided seems to be a suspect. We have also seen that there has been major irregularities, including ballot stuffing, and there was completely absent of other political polling agents in the centers. So in large measure, even the government number shows that it has been boycotted by the people. So it has affected the turnout in Bangladesh election.
All right, so it's been an election essentially without opposition, and yet the government claims it's free and fair. What are your thoughts on it?
How could it be free and fair when 20,000 plus people have been arrested ahead of the election? More than 1,500 people have been convicted on frivolous charges. Sometimes, those are baseless. Besides, what we have seen, that the contest was among the political party, the ruling party alone. When they have put out the candidates called to be independent, they are basically of their own party. Thereafter, this entire process that we have seen is completely unfair. And then again, what we have seen throughout the day is the important one, that people have actually seen through it. They could have seen through it that this is an exercise which can barely be called an election. It can be described as a selection. And that is why the low turnout that we have seen throughout the day.
All right, well, now going forward, what will a Hasina victory then mean for Bangladesh?
This lacks the moral legitimacy in the first place because it is not a mandate of the people they have received, because through the process as well as through the day, people have not voted. This is not an expression of the will of the people. Hence, they would face an enormous issue of claiming that they are representing the people's will. Besides, we have seen that the opposition political parties, including Bangladesh Nationalist Party, but then again, other 15 political parties that are registered with EC, altogether 61 political parties have not participated in this election. People have not voted. So this would be a challenge for them. But beyond that, there are two other elements of challenge. The economy is in a dire situation. We have seen the crisis that started almost a year ago is getting worse. And all these things would be a major challenge for going forward. And then whether it would be acceptable to the international community, particularly with the Western countries who have been insisting on free, fair and inclusive election.
All right, we'll leave it there. Professor Ali Riaz from the Illinois State University. Thanks for joining us on DW.
Thank you.